We ended up facing 297 years in prison each. And when you are faced with that much trouble, you get a real clear understanding of about what it means to be still and have to trust God, because you have no other options. You have no other way out. And you don't know the way. And sometimes I think that is where we really get to bear witness to who God really is when we have no other options.
Welcome to the 10,000 Minutes podcast. I wanted to try it. I wanted to see it.
Try it.
I could do it a little better.
Okay, go for it.
Now I'm shy, guys. Maybe the next one.
Come on.
Maybe the next one.
Come on.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 10,000 Minutes podcast. My name is Moy. And to my hot left, if you are a regular, you know what that means. We have.
I don't know what that means. This is awkward.
Timmons.
Yeah, what's up?
Timothy Howard Timmons.
What's up?
And then over the bridge, we have Chris.
Over the way. Hey, guys.
Also known as C-Train. So,
C-Train.
see where I put the bridge and.
Yes.
But anyways, take it away, Tim. That was too much. Too much responsibility.
No, that was
a lot. Took 65 episodes to get to this spot.
It made me feel uncomfortable. I'm never doing it again.
Please do that again. That was so good. Chris, you're next week.
Cool. Great. Perfect.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. We have a great episode we're about to jump into. We didn't even really know what we're about to jump into, but I know it's going to be great. Mm-hmm. We have Fox and Rob. So they have what is it, on Amazon?
It's on Amazon Prime. They have a documentary called Time.
Yes. And my family just watched it, and it was wild. And then this interview I'm just so intrigued about how this is going to go. Mm-hmm. You guys just watched it.
We did. I mean, it's an incredible story of kind of their hardships, a mistake they made, and then how they lived through it, the injustices in the system, their love and commitment to each other, how they raised kids through all of it. Yeah. Pretty incredible.
Yes. And more, I mean, it really is a love story.
It's a love story.
Yeah.
And we say God is love all the time, but there are a few moments, I think, where we're really witnessing it. Love really did carry both of them through. And if that doesn't restore hope, I mean, I don't know what does. And I'm a sucker for love stories.
I told Kenzie about halfway through, I was like, I don't know if I would have stuck around like she did for him. Because it's crazy. She did, and it was unwavering.
Yeah. Yes, there's just so much in there, like endurance and patience and pivoting in life, communication. Guys, it's just wild. It's a wild story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can't help but feel like you're part of it in some way as you listen to it. So I'm excited.
So this is going to be really great. There are things in here that I'm sure we'll agree and disagree with. I mean, if you look at their story and how it all works, and what do we agree with how the incarceration system works and doesn't work. I don't know if we'll get into that or not. But it's just worth listening to and trying to figure out, how do we learn more about love and God in the midst of all this stuff.
Right.
So they also have a book called Time, the Untold Story of the Love That Held Us Together When Incarceration Kept Us Apart. It's a long title, but I think it's
I get the gist.
I think you get the gist.
Yeah. I think it's summarized it a little.
Let's dive into this, and here we go.
Hey everyone, this is Moy, just letting you know that we do not have interview footage with Fox and Rob because we actually caught them in the middle of their travels, and so the interview happened at an airport on a cell phone. But we do appreciate your flexibility and for sticking around to listen to this amazing conversation with Fox and Rob.
So you guys, we've got Fox and Rob on the podcast.
Woo!
I mean,
so
and
excited.
guys, you're in DC right now in the airport.
Yes.
Because why not? That's a perfect place to be.
For sure.
Right. No.
Yeah, and
Please forgive us, but we were not going to miss this
you guys,
podcast.
you're killing
I
it.
love it.
You're doing great. I mean, you just jumped off the airplane to be in this. So I'm just excited. I'm more so excited for your neighbors, whoever's sitting around you.
I know,
Right.
We caught ourselves trying to get into a corner where they didn't have very many people.
Oh my gosh. I'm excited. So when you talked about some of the things, I'm just, we're always in airports and kind of listening to other people's conversations. So this is awesome. Well, you guys, welcome. Thankful that you guys would jump and do this with us. So we are just curious about your story. So the 10,000 minutes, the whole idea of this podcast and what we do and why we do what we do is we're trying to figure out how do we join Jesus in the 10,000 minutes of our week. So if there are 10,080 minutes in a week, you just got smarter. And 80 of those minutes are in a gathering, a church gathering that people do, which is great. But there are 10,000 minutes until we gather again, and I'm amazing in those 80 minutes, but when it's in the 10,000 minutes, that's when people make me cuss. And just, I see people really different. I see them through my own lenses. I don't see them through the lens of like, Jesus, how do I join you in seeing this person? I'm just not good at that. I'm good at being an awesome Christian, but I'm not great at actually walking with Jesus during the rest of my week. So we're just talking to people who know some stuff, and we want to learn with you and alongside you. That's like our aim. So we would love to learn with you and learn from you. And so we got to watch obviously the show, the movie called Time, the documentary called Time.
Yes. Amazing.
We watched it with my whole family. I know you did it too with your family. And so thank you for just being a part of that. And it was just profound and wild. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, that's it's so fun to like see these humans in front of us because it's like
I feel like watching your story, I feel like it's a part of me a little bit. It haunted me. So I'm excited to kind of walk with you through the years and kind of how it's shaped your view of God and yourself and others.
You guys just wrote a book, obviously, and the book is actually called Time, the untold story of the love that held us together when incarceration kept us apart. And that just came out, or it's coming out, right?
Yes.
February the 7th.
Okay, so this will be after that. So everybody go check out that book, and you'll want to. So everybody just heard a bit of your story, but would you just catch us up on the past 20 years as a couple? Just briefly.
Oh, is there such a thing?
Nope, there's not. There's not.
Well, just let me know when you're ready for us to go.
You go.
All right. Well, for those of us who are listening in for the first time and just becoming familiar with Fox and I, collectively we are known as Fox and Rob. We are a formerly incarcerated couple who spent more than 21 years behind bars before receiving clemency in 2018. But our history actually takes us all the way back to 1987, where Fox and I were high school sweethearts. I was home visiting from some time away from leave while I was in the military, and was joined by Fox with her and a mutual friend of ours, one of my church members. And I fell in love with Fox at first sight, and I spent the rest of the evening trying to convince her that she was equally in love with me.
Come on.
So good.
Preach.
And from that point, I think I nailed it because we spent the next 10 years from 87 to 97 in an on-again, off-again relationship with one another while I served, 2-3 duty stations in the United States Navy. Came home. Fox was wrapping up with some of her collegiate studies. I joined her there at Grambling State University in the early 90s. By the late 90s, that being 1997, I guess I was tired of chasing her at that point. And as the old caveman would do, I hit her over the head with a log and drug her back to the cave.
I love
Told
that.
her you were going to marry me.
I believe
and
that.
She says, when? Tonight? And I said, yes, tonight. The next morning, we took off to a small chapel in Kissimmee, St. Cloud, Florida, where we got married, exchanged our nuptials. We spent the rest of the evening in what was then known as Pleasure Island, one of the Disney properties. And we bungee jumped.
Properties coming. All I heard was Pleasure Island. I'm like, that makes sense. I've seen that movie.
Right. So we spent the rest of that evening, as I mentioned, at Pleasure Island, where we bungee jumped in order to consummate our marriage.
Oh
Got the documented footage of it.
Wait, of the bungee jump?
Yes.
Okay, good. I didn't know if you were talking Pleasure Island or the...
That too, but you can't see that
Yeah,
part.
I mean, I'm just saying, this is right, you guys. I'm thinking about scheduling a trip to Pleasure Island right now with my wife.
Oh, my goodness.
And I'm not talking about bungee jumping. Okay, keep going.
And so once that was all over, we headed back to our hometown of Shreveport to begin what would become the beginning of our lives. We went back home. We bought a house that would become our small family's home. Between Fox and I, we had 3 children, mine, hers, and ours. And from there, we also started a small business, which was then it was the original, it was Culture, the original hip hop, an original hip hop clothing shop that opened back in 1997. We thought that we were off to an amazing start, and everything that could have went wrong went wrong. We bought a house that we thought was our dream home, only to find out later that the foundation was cracked, and all of the carpet that we had put in it, the paint that we had put on the wall, one bad storm, the roof came caving in. Our carpet was destroyed. Our paint was destroyed.
Man.
We were literally underwater. And then the business that we started, we thought we had the ideal location, but we violated every major rule.
Perfect.
When it comes to starting a good business, and that is location, location, location. We actually put a hip hop clothing store in an industrial area. And boy, you should have saw us in the earlier days trying to flag down traffic to get people to stop and even know that we were in existence.
Wow.
And
I saw one of those T-shirts, by the way, in the movie, and I'm like, I want one of those. I was totally jealous. Okay, continue.
And if nothing else bad could have happened in the moment, our 3rd oldest son took ill with an undiagnosed ailment, and it sent us spiraling. And when most people are in times of desperation, they do desperate things. In our efforts to regain financial solvency, we attempted to rob a bank and found out that was actually not the right thing to do. Everything, again, that could have went wrong. The robbery was botched. We were arrested, tried, and convicted, and ultimately sentenced to 60 years, 45 years, and 7 and 5 years, respectively, between myself, our co-defendant, Ontario Smith, and Fox, of course. And we spent the next 21 years and 4 days of our lives from that day in September 16th of 1997, fighting to reunite our families.
Wow.
Okay, well, it's been great to have you guys on here. This has been
Right,
really
that's a mic drop moment, right?
totally. Back to the Barry White comment. Fox, we got to see a lot of just a bit of your journey through walking through crazy and walking with Jesus in the midst of that. And I've got plenty of questions there for you. And for Rob, you were walking through this whole thing as well, and we didn't get to see as much of your walking in the midst of all this. What did you learn? How did you walk with Jesus in the midst of this? Were you like, Jesus, where are you? What are you doing? And we are trying to not be very Christian on this podcast. We would rather be honest than like religious stupid.
Yeah.
So we don't need any of that crap. It's more like, what did that look like to actually walk with Jesus in the midst of this? What questions?
For me, if I may start, for me, it was about when you are at your lowest moment. I've heard people say that the good thing about being at the lowest point that you can be in life is that there's nowhere else to go but up. And so when you hit rock bottom, it is a real revelation about what it means to trust God and get to know God. When you know that Rob and I, when we entered into the criminal justice system, we both were college educated, and we thought that everything, that no matter what you had done, that whatever time you got in the criminal justice system, you got what you deserved.
Right.
We thought that the justice system was just. And it was not until we were directly impacted that we said, this is what this looks like.
Oh, wow.
You mean it's not just over here? And so for us, it was about when you are facing, because we ended up facing 297 years in prison each. And when you are faced with that much trouble, you get a real clear understanding of about what it means to be still and have to trust God, because you have no other options. You have no other way out. And you don't know the way. And sometimes I think that is where we really get to bear witness to who God really is when we have no other options. And for me, that was when I was on suicide watch. having been arrested and being pregnant, and the warden telling the jailer to put me on solitary confinement because he thought I was going to try and take my own life because we were in so much trouble. And so it was a moment of me really having to decide whether I was better off alive or dead. And in that moment is when I talk about in the book Time, the untold story, is that in that moment is when I heard my own heartbeat. And in hearing my own heartbeat, I came to understand that I'm not the reason why I'm here, that there is a power that is operating that is bigger than me and that is sustaining my life force. So if I'm still here, it's for a reason, and I'm going to see this through and see what God has for me on the other side. I'm not giving up on my life because God is not giving up on me. And as funny as it would end up being, they say God has a funny sense of humor. A couple of weeks later, I go to my first OBGYN appointment through the jail and through the jail system. And I am in the prison ward of the hospital. The OBGYN doctor comes in, gives me my first ultrasound. And what happens? Handcuffs and shackles, an armed guard outside, an armed guard on the side of me. The doctor moves over my shackles to put the sonogram on my tummy, and two heads pop up.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
So here I am, I'm facing 297 years, and I knew I was pregnant, but Lord have mercy, I didn't even know having twins was possible for me.
Right.
So all I could do was break out in this loud cry and laughter, saying, God, that was the proof that I needed, that that if you can give me something so special, so amazing at the lowest point of my life, then I know that it's a sign for me that you got me and that we're going to get through this.
Wow.
Wow. And I guess for me, it was much of the same. And I mean, when you step foot in what is known as one of America's bloodiest penitentiaries, and that being Angola State Penitentiary, we're talking about 18,000 sprawling acres with more than 6,000 men that are there, and 80% of them are serving natural life sentences, and the other 20% of them are serving on average 80 years worth of practical life inside of prison walls. The place is surrounded by 3/4 of the Mississippi River, and there's a 21-mile windy road that gets down into this space. And boy, when I tell you that you would have to pump daylight into this place was really no stretch of the imagination. Yeah. And it is one of those moments that, like Jesus on the cross, boy, it'll make you say, God, if you could pass this bitter cup. Right. Believe me, Tim, I was like, man, pass the cup. Yeah. You know, but it was in that moment that, they say that situations and circumstances do not define the man, do not make the man, but they define to him who he actually is. And it was in that moment they reveal to you who you actually are. And it was in that moment that it was revealed to me who I was. And it was just that I was a subject of God that was being tested in an effort to be able to show the magic of what God is able to do when you find yourself in the lowest of moments. Because it is inside of the darkest of spaces that I think that God does his magic. Yeah, the best works. The greatest of miracles. Yeah. And with that being said, it led me to a course that I took as a prerequisite to my seminary studies. And it was a course called Experiencing God. And the main objective with Experiencing God was about finding where you could identify that God was working and join him in his work. And it was there that I realized that with those desolate souls that were inside of Angola, you're talking about men that had, no hope whatsoever. I'm talking about when you look into the eyes of men and you see that there's nothing there, it makes you realize that, man, either I'm going to join you there, or I need to figure out a way to inspire, motivate, and bring something back into those eyes, man, because, again, like I said, that's a scary place to be. So it was there that my ministry started, even inside of prison walls, through the thank God for the New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary, who had an extension center in Angola, and they were offering 2-year and 4-year degrees for men willing to study in pastoral ministry and Christian counseling. So I was able to get my degree there, and much of what I learned through the program helped me navigate, the bowels of prison.
So in the beginning, I mean, that's 20 years and change.
21 years.
That's right. That's what I said. 21 years and change. And that every day of change is every day of that 1 year is crazy. So I apologize even for not getting it right, because I know that that's not like it's just 20 something. Like you actually said some amount of years in 4 days.
Right.
So it's
21 years and 4
it's no
days.
joke. Every single day, I have a nephew who's in prison right now, and I just got to spend some time at San Quentin a month ago, and I just these guys are just such beautiful humans. But that 21 years and change, there's a lot of time in there, a lot of questions,
That's
a lot
right.
of struggling in those moments. What were some of the moments of like, nope, God, I'm dying here. I'm dying here. And what'd you see in him, or where were moments where like, nope, I don't see him? Because I don't know when you started those courses, but can you give a little bit on that?
Yeah.
Just the not so awesome and beautiful part?
I started the courses early on, and then, you have this kind of way of that I think that when we're infants in our studies of, the miracles of God, I think that we have this thing that we're hopeful that it's more like a reward and kind of punishment type of situation. So we do good, and then we hope that God will do good in return. Then I got to my first, probably about the first year and a half in, when the Louisiana Supreme Court denied my writ, and hence making my conviction final. And I was like, oh God, where are you? Where art thou?
Yeah.
Have you abandoned me here or what? And it's that moment, I guess, where you only see one set of footprints in the sand.
Yeah.
And then you're walking along the way, and you're like thinking that these are actually your footprints. And, you can kind of, what I call as an acronym, your ego steps in. And it's when you ease God out. And in the moments that you ease God out, you have a tendency to want to do everything, even, curse God, be like, man, what the hell are you?
Yeah.
I'm suffering here. I'm dying here. I need to be resuscitated.
Yeah.
And then, there were still other moments, because I went and I said, well, I got another avenue through the court. I can go back through and maybe file to the federal court, only to get and file to the federal court and find out that the lawyer who I had was a rookie attorney. I was his second criminal trial. And as a result of it, he just was not prepared to address the concerns that were before the court. And hence I found out that I was totally time barred from federal review at that point. So it was, again, at that moment, I'm like, okay, God, where are you? Are you not here? Am I here all alone?
Right.
And, this thing went on for, I'm talking about many years. I'm talking about denial after denial after denial. And like I said, it really takes you in those moments to where you gird up, and you have to, you're like Job in that moment, man. You're afflicted. I've lost my family. Of course, I've lost my kids. I've socially orphaned them. And, and then it was in the moment when you realize that you have managed that all of these things have actually taken place, not to the fault of God, but to your own actions. And then it's in that moment, I think, where you start to realize that, okay, this is definitely a test, and it's a test that I got to be up for. And I think it was in those moments where I really started to kind of find meaning in my suffering. Fox sent me a book one time. It was probably one of the first books that she sent to me. It was the first book. It was by Viktor Frankl, and the book was entitled Man's Search for Meaning. Yep. And he was basically thinking of Siberian prison, in a concentration camp, and was, on a whole nother side of the world, but experiencing similar to what I was experiencing in Angola. And I said, well, man, if this guy can tap in and get through it, then surely I can tap in and get through it. So it was in those moments, I think, Tim, that my ancestors spoke to me, the ancestors that had overcome over 400 years of slavery in America. And it was in that moment that I realized that the DNA that ran through them also ran through me. And if they could overcome 400 years of chattel slavery, then surely I could overcome 60 years in Angola State Penitentiary through under mass incarceration.
Wow.
So today, when something goes wrong, so I live with an incurable cancer. That's what I walk with every day. It's, one of those things that, you get through, and people always go, but what about like today? Like when something goes wrong today, are you like, no problem. I'm fine. I got, I write this on my wrist every day. I woke up. I'm just grateful I woke up. But little things like just wreck me. That don't need to. I'm like, that was so stupid. How did I just get fully thrown off of this little thing when I woke up again today? Like I'm alive, hanging out with you cool people today. And there are these little reminders all day. I'm like, oh gosh, Tim, you don't have to worry about that. So now today for both of you, when you're like, we went through all this craziness and we walked with Jesus in the midst of it and he taught us so much. But yet today, as you guys were getting off that plane, when something happened that was so stupid that you're like, gosh, that just threw you out of your awareness of like, I'm thankful for today. How do you guys get through that?
We have a family motto, Tim, that says if it's not 297 years, it's nothing.
At all.
It's nothing. It is nothing. We have seen our worst days and moved past them. And as long as we got our health and our strength, we got everything we need to make it.
That's right.
You know?
And Tim, you spoke a word when you mentioned your own health challenges. And truth be told, it's many people have their own version of suffering. It can be a bad relationship. It can be a dead-end job. It can be health concerns. It can be financial, situations. It can be a number of different things. But it is, again, just in those moments where we have to realize that this is not a bad thing that is happening with us at that moment. It is more so an opportunity for us to be able to demonstrate what is possible when we take our challenges head on.
And trust God.
That's right.
And that for us was the most important part about writing this book and being able to share, the documentary, being nominated for an Oscar, even coming straight out of prison and having an opportunity to walk the red carpet. It was all vainglorious. But if we were not able to tell the real struggles that we went through and the miracles that showed how God showed up for us, then for us, it was all for naught. And so for Baker Books publishing company to see our faith walk and give us a chance to share that with people. And as we say over and over again, our issue of blood was incarceration, but everybody is dealing with their own. And so we are hopeful that as people pick up Time, the book, The Untold Story, that they will just be able to use our story as a testament in their own lives, that if God can do it for us, yes, it took 21 years. And one of those things on that journey, probably like you, Tim, that we realized is that I can't worry about tomorrow. It was at different moments for me that I would find myself having me and the boys living for the day when Rob came home. Everything was when he comes home, when he comes home, all about tomorrow. And then I had to say, no, I don't even know if I may be blessed to get there. But what I do know is that I have right now. And what am I going to do right now? I'm going to go visit and I'm going to be in this moment right here, right now, because no matter where we are family and God has given us this moment. So it was a challenge trying not to look at the future moments and really just be grateful and present in the moment that we had right now and what that looked like.
That's right. Because it's in those moments that you come to the realization that you've experienced enough yesterdays. You've experienced enough yesterdays to know that tomorrow will come. So enjoy the day. Enjoy the day that you've been given. So it's like every day we enter it, we exit it, knowing that, this has been one beautiful day. When they say, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Yes,
come
indeed.
on.
You have
I
to
love
do
that. I love that. That's so good. I think we should just take an offering right now and be done. That's kind of what I'm feeling right now.
Or order a book.
Come on. Oh, yes. I mean, duh. We'll have said that 100 times. Everybody, please go do that. Please do that. And we'll put that in the show notes as well. What did you guys need most in those hard years?
Yeah.
I think the thing that just sustained us most was one, remembering that everything we needed, we already had. When Rob and I made a decision, that fatal decision to regain financial solvency by taking something, immediately afterwards, it was realized to us, oh my God, it wasn't the money. Everything we needed, we already had. We had each other. And as long as we had our health and our strength and our love, everything else in this life that we wanted to achieve, we get so lost on this American dream syndrome stuff, right? All the stuff. And all of the stuff, it fades away, but it is God's love that goes eternally. And we had that. And we gave it up trying to get the American dream junk. And we paid dearly for it.
That's right. And I probably said it best at the close of time, the documentary, when I said that love is life's only valid expression. And when you understand that, even though it's an acronym and it sounds cute and all that other stuff, but truthfully, love is all we need. And when we have love, we realize that love conquers all.
Because God is love and love is God.
And I'm talking about that makes all the mathematical sense in the world. It lets you know that, God's love has the power to eradicate life sentences. It has the power to bring down brick walls and steel gates and armed guards and the whole 9 yards. I mean, we just have to tap in. I think Fox probably says it better than me when she says love is the most divine chemical in the universe, and it dissolves everything that is not of itself.
Come on.
Wow.
We're taking a second offering right now. That is so
that's the
good.
second book order, Tim.
Come on, that's what I'm saying. People, buy the book. Buy the book, because I think there's going to be a bunch more of these things in every single chapter.
It is.
A few more quick questions. So, Fox, in the documentary, there's a moment when you're just being kind and just trying to practice kindness, partly because you're like, please give me what I need, because if I'm lame to you, then you're going to kick me and not give me what I want. I mean, it was just so heartbreaking to listen to you. But there was a moment when there was the woman that, as in the South we'd say, God bless her soul, that she just was like, she wouldn't even make the call that you're asking for. And she, in a sense, was almost dehumanizing you. It just intentionally or unintentionally, she was just kind of saying, well, this lady, whether she was saying, well, they got what they got and that they're going to get whatever I give them. It was such a clear view of how we dehumanize people. And I guess part of it is like, what did you learn in the midst of that? And how do you do that with other people? And what's the practice as we can see, how do we see people the way that God sees people? Whether they're incarcerated or not, they're lame to us. What'd you learn?
When I was in prison, it was probably maybe my first couple of nights in prison, and there was a young lady who was my bunkmate she was a former crack addict out of New Orleans, and had spent years, as she had shared with me, as a crack addict. And so one day we were talking, and she says to me, baby, let me tell you something. 2 mountains may never meet, but 2 people will. And I said, ooh, ouch. It was the realest truth I have ever heard. And knowing how God works, for me, I always try to treat people like they're going to be the doorkeeper for the next door that God has me walk through. No matter what kind of day I'm having, I strive to remember, because like you said, 80 minutes I'm in church.
Yeah.
But them other 10,000 minutes, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
So I strive to remember, as I'm encountering other human beings, other children of God, that 2 mountains may never meet, but 2 people will. And when this person encounters me again, when my name comes up, when someone says that they ran into me, what will they have to say about me? And I want it to be something good. I don't always make it, Tim, no doubt about that.
Of course,
but I certainly, like they say, give it the old college try. Every day I make sure that I give it the old college try. I believe in building bridges because I know that our relationships to one another, that's what God wants for us, right? Because if that was the case, it would have just been Adam. Wouldn't have been a need for Eve and all the children. Our relationships is what God wants for us. And so we have to value those and treat those and each other as the children of God that we are when we're on this journey together. So that was probably my biggest lesson is how I treat other people. It's just that 2 mountains may never meet, but 2 people will, baby. So you better be mindful about how you treat people, because you're going to see them again. And the worse you treat them, the more likely you are to see them again.
Yeah. Yeah, I love
So
that.
can you imagine in that documentary when in small town Louisiana, all those people came back saying, "Child, I heard your name on that documentary."
Of course.
Oh my God.
I love that. I love that. Rob, is there a practice that you have that because none of us are perfect, just like Fox just said. It's like there's moments that somebody says something and you're like, okay, you have just triggered the wrath of me, but it's in those moments that we're trying to figure out as Jesus people, how do we go, okay, Jesus, help me actually represent you in this moment when now I'm so pissed off at this person. So what's the practice? What's the rethinking? So repent means to rethink our thinking. What are the moments or the little triggers or the practices that you guys are doing that kind of help us see people like Jesus actually might invite us to see people?
Tim, I'm going to say, one, this is not even a fair question because this brother is one of the most zen people I've ever met in my life. And he actually annoys me sometimes because he is so woosah. I'd be like, no, you better come on and get upset with me.
That is awesome.
It would probably be scripture, I think, says it best when it says that I have learned that whatsoever state I be in, that which to be content. And it takes a journey to get you to that particular point. There was a program that I took while I was incarcerated. It was a program that was implemented by NFL great Jim Brown. It's called the American program, and it's a program for social change that he created in order to address a lot of the riots that were happening in L.A. Shortly after the Rodney King incident that took place there. Yeah. But when faced with difficulties and things like that, he has a process that we would go through, and that process is that first and foremost, you have to eliminate the negative. Secondly, you have to establish the fact. And then once you establish the facts, you then choose your best options. Once you get to a point that you can actually eliminate the negative, whoever it is that's getting in your face, whatever it is that's causing the problems, whatever that is, just take the moment in order to eliminate the negative. Once you're able to establish the facts, when you're in the moment of establishing the facts, it's in that moment, I think, that you reach a point of empathy. Not sympathy, but empathy, because it allows you to put yourself in the shoes of the other person. When you're able to then put yourself in the shoes of the other person, it's in that moment that understanding starts to come with you. And then you're usually able to address it in the best possible light at that point, because you've done all of you've done the exercise to get you to that point, and so, in life, we don't really face problems. And when we do, for us, it's just an exercise. Problems are when you have no end in mind, no solutions to them. But if you understand the formula will always get you the right answer. So it's just an exercise.
How do you eliminate the negative? Is that like internally? I mean, because you were just in prison, right? There's negative everywhere.
Yes.
So something your roommate, you can't eliminate your roommate, or else you'll be in there for many more years, right? So it's like, what's that look like when negative is just there in your face? So is that like an internal thing where, like, Jesus, I need to see this in a different light?
It's not so much that he is the problem as much as it is that the spirit that is working inside of him, that is the problem. Okay. So whatever that is, the moment that happens for me is that, okay, this is not even about me. This is something not about me. It's not something about this brother that I'm facing in this moment, or nothing of the sort. But it's in those moments, like Fox made mention, when she identified that this young lady was a former crack addict. Very seldom do you encounter people, especially in those types of places, that you don't come to the conclusion real fast that this person has obviously had a trying life, a challenging life. So in those moments, you realize that, this person is obviously having has had a challenging life, and is obviously in this moment having a challenging time trying to bridge the gap between anger and the resolve of it. So it's about managing all of that. And a lot of times, like you said, if you just slow down enough and not get into a reactionary mode, I think more times than not, when most people are faced with challenges, we automatically start thinking of some type of reaction or response that we should be having in the moment. And a lot of times the response is to do nothing at all.
Yeah.
Well said, baby.
That's so good.
Love
All right,
it.
so the third offering is to go buy the book, people. That's what I'm saying, because this is getting uncomfortable with, number one, they're making out basically in the airport on our podcast. And that's okay. You guys can spend that time at Pleasure Island. I feel like that's anywhere we are. Okay, this is safe for the whole family.
Goodness. Yeah, family friendly.
You guys, this is so good, and thank you for your time. We're not done yet. We've got a quick question for you because we like to laugh. You guys, there's so much here. Thank you. So people, please go buy their book. And also, you guys have a whole ministry, right?
Yes.
Is it Fox and Rob?
It is Rich Family Ministries, richfamilyministries.org.
richfamilyministries.org. People, please go check that out, and please go buy their book. Are there other ways we can support you just as humans?
I think prayer always works. For us right now, we are on a mission, Tim, to get this book into the hand of as many incarcerated souls as we can.
Okay.
We know that what our family learned on this 21-year journey, for Rob and I both to be incarcerated, raised 6 sons, and none of them have been incarcerated. So we were able to break the generational curses, as well as, not are they just amazing young men. 5 have been to college. 1 is a doctor. 1 is the director of operations on Capitol Hill for one of our congressmen at 23 years old. 2 of them are married. We have no grandchildren yet. So just they're all doing really exceptional things. And 1 is a sommelier. We didn't even know what that word was until he became one. He was like, oh yeah, my son's one of those too. Yeah. We got that in the family.
I love beer. Just kidding.
And so we are just, thanking God in advance for being able to bless people with this work so that it can continue to grow. And I think that by restoring our families is how we reduce crime in our country, building solid foundations built upon love and God that can really take us forth and build the world the way that we really want to see it on those principles. So that's what we're trusting God for right now.
Yeah.
You guys, you are beautiful. You are so beautiful. Yeah. It's just such a joy to have this conversation. My wife was like jealous. She wanted to be a part of this. I'm like, well, you're just going to have to listen.
Well, listen, if you guys find yourselves down in New Orleans, you give us a call.
Okay, done. And if you're in Nashville, you give us a call. Yes. We'll take you. We'll sommelier.
Well, look, the dentist is, he graduated from Meharry. He and his girlfriend, she is now at Harvard Imperial Dental School, and he is finishing up his residency in orthodontics at Indiana University. And they are actually planning to make Nashville their home when she'll have 1 year left. He graduates in July. She has 1 year left.
Perfect.
So we will be in Nashville to say all of that. So you save us a beer, because that's my favorite.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Done.
We will sommelier with wine and all that. It's our treat. My treat.
Yes, indeed.
Easy. Okay, so this is a quick round, you guys. This is quick round. This isn't, you can't think about this. This is just you give your answer right away, okay? Mm-hmm. And I can't wait to see the faces of the people around you when you give these answers. Okay, first thing you do in the morning, go.
Fix coffee. Well, I kiss Rob. Yeah.
I kiss Fox.
Gosh.
I love it.
Once again, people go buy the book.
Yes. So good.
Okay, pet peeves. I know you don't have any, but if you did.
I do have a pet peeve. It's how slow Rob is. Every time we get ready to go somewhere, I'm like dragging him everywhere. I'm like, if you don't come on.
And mine would be just the opposite. I hate how erratic she is at times. I'm like, would you just slow down? The world's not going anywhere.
I
oh my gosh.
Love it.
Gosh,
a good balance.
Pleasure Island 2.0. Okay, here we go. Childhood nicknames.
Muffy Jaws. Preacher.
Come again?
Muffy Jaws.
And Preacher.
I don't know if we should
Muffy Jaws.
That
My family called me Muffy Jaws because my jaws are so fat.
That was a dad's pet name for her.
Oh my gosh. And Rob, yours is Preacher.
Yes. It was one day I got all dressed up for Easter Sunday, and I walked outside, and the minute I walked outside, my uncle looked at me and said, "God damn, Preacher."
Oh my gosh.
I love that.
That is so great. Okay, something you're currently celebrating.
Oh my goodness, that I am about to be the state representative for the most powerful House district in the state of Louisiana on February the 18th. That as a formerly incarcerated woman, God has restored me to my dream. And as of yesterday, the senator, the U.S. congressman, 3 council members have all endorsed my candidacy.
So
that is
great.
awesome.
We celebrate with you. That is so great.
Amazing.
Come on. Come on.
That is awesome.
Come on. Well, okay, we'll move on. Hidden talent, both of you.
Ooh, hidden talent.
Let's go G-rated.
I like to
G-rated.
sing. I like to sing even though I'm not good at it. That's probably, I would consider that my hidden talent.
You call that a hidden talent?
I would. What's your hidden talent?
Rob, what do you got?
Loving Fox.
Aw.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
pretty good at that.
You're just
All
trying
the
to
right
get more
answers.
makeout time.
All the right answers. Yeah.
You don't have a hidden talent, Rob?
Yeah, loving Fox. But
Oh my
there's something
gosh.
behind that. I've come to realize that, again, it says that relationships are much like bank accounts. And the big objective is much like your bank account. The objective is to place far more deposits than the withdrawals that you make. So every chance that I get, I try to put my spare change in there so that when I do make those little petty cash withdrawals, then it don't matter much. So every chance that I get a chance to tell this lady that I love her or take the opportunity to say that I love her, I know a little change goes a long way.
I love it. Gosh.
So good.
Okay, last one is bucket list. You guys have any bucket list items?
Yes, we are prospective Nobel Peace Prize winners, Tim. We plan to do so much work in this world to undo mass incarceration that somebody's going to write to Switzerland and tell them that we deserve the Nobel Peace Prize.
And if so, we would be
it.
the 7th couple to ever receive the honors.
Wow.
7, number of perfection. They're waiting on us, Tim.
Come on. Everybody, go buy the book. And if you are in charge of the Nobel Peace Prize and you're listening to this, please make this happen.
Yes. Amazing.
You guys, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What a joy to have you on this today and for our listeners to be encouraged by you. Fox and Rob. I mean, offerings. I could have taken 94 offerings.
Amazing.
And we would have. So I wish we had another 2 hours just to talk through this and figure out what we learned. What'd you guys hear?
I like the angle that the conversation went. I think we could have gone 1,000 different places in this conversation because there's so much there.
Yeah.
And I think like really leaning into like what they've learned and like when God has been present and when they haven't felt him and like how they've lived through this crazy ordeal together, how their love is kind of like, gosh, it's pretty incredible.
You guys, if you were just listening on the podcast and you weren't watching the video, they were basically making out the whole time.
Oh yeah, sharing the AirPod or the iPod
They're in
thing.
love. They're in love.
Yeah,
they are. It's really incredible.
I loved the 200 and whatever years line.
Yeah, if it's not that sentence, it's
It's so funny.
Yeah.
They got catchphrases, that's for sure.
But even in life, like each of us have things that we've gone through that have just sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't, my dad always said, wait a week, it's coming. But it's that thing of, okay, I've gone through this. We've made it through this. We can do this. We can get through this. I just think their posture in life is so powerful because they've gone through so much crap.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's back to the idea that we're always trying to figure out how do we get around going through hard things.
Right.
When you've got this example of these people who are now, I don't know, whatever she is to the state of Louisiana.
Right.
That are these beautiful representers of the way of Jesus and not a super Christian-y way. They're just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only through the crap and the stuff they've gone through that's like invited them into this new reality.
Yeah. And it seems like they've really touched compassion. Like they went through this incredible 2 decades journey, probably needing a lot of compassion to just come out of it and be like, I know what it is to need help as an incarcerated family. So let's go do that. let's continue the story instead of trying to maybe hope it goes away and never really happened.
Yeah.
I know we all have those moments. We've done something we just don't want anyone to ever know about, and it's just done. It's in the past.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, it's all in the light. And we did some things, and some things were redeemed, and some things turned around. And now we want other families to know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
That it's not the end, and that we understand where you are. So their story is about compassion for each other in the lowest of their moments, and for people who feel they're at their lowest right now.
Yeah.
And that was the part that I was like, wow. So we walk around sometimes not with our posture, hoping to be compassionate to the stories people bring us. And they're like, everyone has a story, knowing that I don't know what it is to experience, but they have experience. But they're like, it doesn't matter. You have your story.
Yeah.
You have your struggle. I'm not going to minimize it compared to mine. We all need to be compassionate. So good for the heart.
The
to
empathy,
hear.
how he was just deciphering between even like sympathy and empathy. I mean, that's cliche, but it's like it was real in that guy's story.
Yeah, being present with people. No,
So good.
they're great.
Yeah, I want to have dinner with them.
I really hope they come. And if you guys go on tour and you go to New Orleans, I will be a roadie. I'll be whatever I have to do for that one night just to go hang out. They just seem like they welcome you. You know, a couple who might not be welcomed other places because of their history.
Yes.
They welcome everyone, and you can tell.
Yeah.
They're like, you're here right now. Let's get to know you. Like those things heal people. Those kind of postures heal people. And so I'm really hopeful that they continue to do amazing work in their ministry and what they're doing. Some of the truths that are present in this conversation is that you truly aren't ever alone. And in your lowest, God truly does still love you. Like love is still present. And hopefully we can be better at reminding each other of that as we struggle alongside each other.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel as low as those moments that, you know, Fox felt, where she was like, maybe this is it. Like, I just don't want to.
Yeah.
But what if we could practice being better at reminding each other that God is still present in our story, even when it doesn't feel like it?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening to this podcast. If you've made it this far, you are our new best friend. And if we can support you, please let us know how we can encourage you, what you need. Like and subscribe to this, and please share this with people. That would be epic. And go buy their book.
Yes.
Or send it to some people. If I can speak English, we need support because Tim needs some English lessons. It's been a long day.
Yeah, we can move the budget around. We'll look at it.
Okay, bye, you guys.